put him on his back. Thurston, right foot kick, down the ground, into the in goal almost. Hodgson cuts it off. Hodgson taken by Norton. He took him late. Marshall skips away. Marshall's still going. Marshall's got Richards coming up outside. Now inside. Richards pursued. He pushes Johnson away.
Good evening, everybody. It is Tuesday, the 2nd of June, 2026. You're back for another episode of the Tiger Town podcast with your hosts, Zach and Toby. Zach at this end, Toby at the other, of course. Brought to you, as always, by Best on Ground Digital. Best on Ground Digital, the digital marketing agency that looks after the little guy. They will not steer you wrong, bestongrounddigital.com. As I stumble over the last couple of words. Speaking of stumbling over words, Toby's just gotten around pissing himself laughing because evidently he didn't like my Nigel Thornberry.
No, I didn't like it. It was creeping me out.
Okay, the standard Toby response. How you going over there, mate?
A bit under the weather, mate. As you can probably hear from my croaky voice, and I apologise in advance if there's any sniffales. But yeah, unfortunately, kids at daycare, they bring the darndest things back. So
You'll be bloody hot on that mute trigger, mate. Don't worry about that, champion.
Hoping so.
Hey, look, mate, let's get into some footy because there's a bit to talk about. The Blues. What did you make of the game last weekend, very briefly?
We were lucky. We played like shit. I think the players that were supposed to stand up didn't. And somebody tell me otherwise, that Tedesco was just actually, he was a hindrance more than a complimentary in the back line. I think most times he got the ball, he started, staggered. He was frustrating to watch. Stephen Crichton in that first half was useless. To'o was very ordinary, which was really surprising. I don't think I've seen a more consistent player over the last 6 years than To'o. Obviously, we turned things around a little bit in the second half, but it's we won, and that's the main result, and I like that. But it's probably fair to say that if Ponga didn't go off, we don't win that game.
Yeah, true words never been spoken, no doubt, mate. We were terrible. The good side to it though is that if you can win football games playing that badly, and you got one in the bank, you would like to think we could only get better. So
I hope so. It is Laurie Daly coaching, but
we'll have to see. There's been a couple of funny things going around that if we start another poor half, there's never been an Origin coach sacked mid-series, and it'd be pretty hard to. But geez, he's making a case for the opposite. I've never seen a winning coach so pilloried, and rightly so. But anyway, discussion for another day. It's not really the topic.
Boring in attack. God, we went sideline to sideline, didn't punch through. Then the only time we looked dangerous when Nathan Cleary clearly went away from the game plan and actually did what he does best. That was the only time we looked good.
The middles just got eaten, mate.
Oh my God!
They got eaten. We played no football. They tried to play conservative, which is just nonsensical. Which is what used to win you Origins back in the day when it was a slugfest. But these days it's basically an all-star game. You got to play football. Yeah. Queensland were playing football, and lo and behold, they were doing well. They were shit hot, mate. Queensland. So
they were. In
some ways, for them to play quite well and lose is pretty disheartening, and for us to play pretty poorly, and you would like to think we could only get miles better. It's encouraging in a few ways.
It is. And where are we? Are we at Melbourne next? Where are we?
Yeah, Melbourne, and then home in Queensland to finish. I say home, but sorry, Queensland take it back home for the game 3. So it'd be interesting to see what changes they make. But we'll have to wait and see. I won't bog us down on that too much because we've got to get into reviewing the Bulldogs game. So Tigers back on deck, mate. We've got to win 22-16 against the Doggies. Obviously, they're at CommBank Stadium. 4 tries to 3.
Yep.
I'll run it through a couple of the major stats in a moment, but beforehand, as always, mate, give us your brief summary of the football match.
I thought the first half, especially the first 20, I thought we were everything clicked. It was awesome to watch. Like, there was times when, I mentioned it last week where I thought my bold prediction was Jock Madden was going to have a blinder because he was going to play off what Appy could produce, and I thought he did. I thought he dug into the line really well, created the space. I thought Luai played really well in that first 20. I think everyone did, and it was very clear how much, and we said it last week, how much Appy was going to bring to the team, and it was very clear. Then I think, we went away from that a little bit. I thought what we were doing, what was working in terms of, and I can't remember who said it. I read it somewhere, and it really made sense with me. And you know what? You're going to hate the fact that I quote this bloke, but I think it was Clarkey, because I know you're not a big fan of Clarkey. But he mentioned something.
Hang on. Not as a person.
No. As a person, you don't care either way. It's just what he produces. His commentary, sometimes you're not a fan of.
No, I'm not a fan of people with big platforms that don't really have much football knowledge.
So, fine.
We're safe because we don't have big platforms.
Yeah, he's never going to hear this. Who cares?
No, good. No, all the best to him.
He actually did say something that sort of resonated. He said, "I think, from what I can see, I think the Tigers' defense is improved by their attack," and by that he meant when they push the defensive line from sideline to sideline, when they kick early, when they turn defenses around, that allows them to have that rushing defense control the ruck, and that's what I thought we did. And I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then when we kind of went away from that, poor kick choices, let's not talk about that. The fact that we had all the momentum and then Jock kicks the ball into the in goal on the full. Let's not talk about that. That was a moment that I'm sitting there going, this is going to swing the momentum all the way back to the Bulldogs. Yeah, it almost did. So that was a very long-winded one sentence, but that's kind of where I'm at. I thought it was a solid 20 when it needed to be, and I think our defense was actually quite good as well. I think there was a couple of little things here and there that probably just more individual errors, but I think
I agree with you. Undoubtedly, defense was pretty good, and it had to be because we put ourselves in a position a number of times, particularly in the back end of that second half, to have to basically scratch and scrimp and try to get through as best we could. I'll go through a couple of key stats. 47% per 53 possessions, so we're down in that regard. Our completion rate was up at 89%, and at one stage earlier in the match, it was up in the 90s, I think up around 95%, well and truly into the match. Our completion rate was doing pretty well, a few low errors late. All run meters got smashed by the Dogs, 1,900 odd to a bit below 1,600. Post contact though, relatively similar. They beat us in line breaks 6-4, tackle breaks 56-39. They beat us once again. Our set distance was decent at 40, but theirs was 42. Too big. You got to be getting down into the 30s to talk about containment, from my perspective.
Yep.
And as I keep sort of working my way down for the stats that stand out, our tackle percentage was low for us, 83.5, 56 missed and 24 ineffective, which is average. I think we did really struggle to contain the offloads. Where's offloads here? Yeah, 14 to them, 13 to us, but we generally I know Karaz sort of does it all on his own, but we like to sort of win that offload battle from my perspective, so not the best in that regard. But look, to your point of defence, we sort of had to, on that note. I will mention, because everybody has mentioned, the 7-0 set restarts, 4 ruck infringements on us, 3 inside 10s on us. Now, as many have said before, like I'll cop 6 agains when they're warranted. I still think 7 is too many for a football side that is not going out there. I don't think we're a football side that goes out there to break rules. In fact, I reckon we're one of the probably quote-unquote nicer football sides that don't push the rules as much. But I can't cop 0-0. You're telling me the Bulldogs were not once in 80 minutes inside the 10 metres. One single foot of one single player on one occasion. Like, shove it up your ass. So I don't like that. In spite of all that, we lost Marcy. We lost Alex Twals thanks to a Alex Seyfarth cannonball.
Was that why?
Oh, mate, if you haven't seen the footage, he comes in to try to chop down a player that's already essentially held. He ends up hitting Twally's leg, and then Twally's on the ground, holding his knee, castrating Seyfarth as Seyfarth runs back into the defensive line.
Oh, I need to have a look at this.
He's in trouble.
He was horrible.
I tell you.
He was horrible. He was so bad, Seyfarth.
And our other injury was who? I've had a blank.
I think, wasn't it just Marcy? Sione.
Sione, yeah, sorry, with HIA. So, I mean, we'll get to talking about how Marcy's been named this week a little bit later in the show, but it was one of those victories that ended up being another attrition situation, and we just had to get the 2 points, mate. Like,
that's it. We just had to stop that bleed.
Yeah. And that's where it was at. I think we played in part like the football team of the first 8 weeks of the year. 8 weeks?
Yeah.
Whatever it was. 8 games. 7 games, sorry. When we were 5-2. I think there was elements of it there, but it wasn't complete. We're still missing some of the key players, and like you alluded to, there's a few moments that we're missing. And our big moments, guys, as we've spoken about a number of times, the guys that at the start of the year have tended to swing momentum in our favour and get the job done in low percentage situations are Sam Weller and Adam Dewey, and neither of them are there.
Yeah.
And so that's a contributing factor. So, look, we're going to Penrith this week, sort of with the shackles off and the pressure off a little bit, having righted the ship, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But, yeah, I'll reiterate, it's just good to get the 2 points.
It was. It was good to get the 2 points, and then, yeah, I get it. Like, when I'm talking about the press conference and things like that, so when watching the Serraldo press conference, and, you know, he's got to do what he can to shield his team and stuff like that, but there was also some, like, you mentioned it last week, how do we beat the Bulldogs? And you said I'd go to Jamin Salmon's side, and Jamin Salmon was actually, he got hooked. He was not flashed in any way, shape or form, but, you know, one of the things that frustrated me a lot about that game, and it probably was more highlighted during that press conference because I didn't really think of it at the time, was how fortunate actually the Bulldogs at times were to be in a position even to fight back into the game. Like, the Alex Twal shoulder charge. Can you explain to me how that's a shoulder charge?
No, it's not.
Yeah. The Tupanua...
Hang on. Check with Cameron Serraldo, see if he included that in his letter. And while you're there, can you ask if he put in his letter Sitili Tupanua's shoulder charge?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Just double check. Just make sure that if he's going to write that letter to the referees about all the ways that the Bulldogs were wronged, maybe you should include those.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, I get being frustrated, and
He's a myth, mate. He's a myth.
Mate, he's not. For me, Cameron Serraldo is what Mal Meninga was for the Maroons. He's a figurehead. Gus Gould's doing all the bloody thing in the background. Gus Gould doesn't know the modern game anymore. So, but yeah, it was just really frustrating to like, as a Tigers fan, you know, we've been on the wrong side of things a lot. But you mentioned it before that we're one of the one teams that probably don't really buy into a lot of this diving and playing for a penalty and shit like that. And I reckon it goes back to last year. I don't know if you remember correctly, but I think it was Tito. Tito copped a high shot, stayed down, tried to milk it. I think he was hooked. That game. Nothing was wrong with him, but he was hooked because I think this is something Benji has instilled in the players, is we don't do that. That's not us. We play with pride in that jersey. Don't milk it. Like, you think about the Josh Curran charge down, letter of the law, that's a penalty. But Luai just chased him. Imagine if that happened to Mitch Moses. Like, Mitchell Moses would have done a backflip and landed on his neck by himself. So,
yeah, I mean, and even that one, the fact that it was mentioned, it was the correct decision. Like, agree with the rule all you want, He didn't even make possible contact with the leg. But it's a clear decision. That's been the case for years. I don't know why people were up in arms about it.
No.
The fact that he touched the ball means nothing. It doesn't mean anything. Like all of the other blokes who have made contact with legs that no one has had a problem with since and prior to, in some ways, Lockie Elias snapped his leg in the same situation. They're all going for charge downs.
Yeah, they're not going there to break their leg.
It's just that Curran happened to make contact with it. So I don't understand the carry on about it. It's unfortunate, but it's exactly the same as somebody taking an intercept or something and their own play touching the ball just and it being a knock on. It's not a try. You can cry foul about it all you want and how you don't agree with the rule and yada yada. It's not a try. Just like Lachlan Galvin's wasn't a try when you look at the still of it completely dislodged into Ruva's hand. So
not only that,
these are all things that I hope that Cameron included in his letter.
Yeah, it never reached the line.
No. Even with that, I could even, on benefit of the doubt from ref's decision, I could cop that it might have touched a white blade of grass. I could cop that. But he lost the fucking ball. He didn't even just almost lose the ball. He clearly and irrefutably lost the football. So, I don't know. Anyway,
yeah, it was just...
I'm glad that we didn't lose off the back of those.
Oh, I would have been ropeable. I would have been ropeable. Because go back to that Twiley shoulder charge. It was a great shot. Thompson's been pus since going to the Doggies. And that was, 5 metres out? And I think they just scored a try. That was 5 metres out. That could have changed momentum well back into our favour.
Well, it was. It was our chance to hit straight back and crush them in that game. And that was wrongly adjudicated. Just like earlier in the match with Marcy. That's on 2 counts because Satili's is more clearly a shoulder charge. He also causes an injury to the player. Marcy goes off for a HIA. Satili on the replay shows that he himself gets knocked unconscious as he's falling backwards. You can see the way his head sort of wobbles and he loses whatever. And he doesn't get taken for hate. Like it just from so many positions and then into the Twiley tackle, it's just the incorrect decision was made and we were on the wrong end of those decisions around it. So anyway, again, like I said, It was a tough, gritty win and we had to come up against these headwinds and to get the 2 points is cracker. Like it's the same as New South Wales. Let's bank and move on because we've never been a football side that has been capable of doing this sort of stuff.
No.
When stuff goes against us like that with headwinds and more injuries and we've still got suspensions and bits and pieces going on, like we don't win those football games traditionally, so we need to take them when we can get them.
Yeah. No, I agree. And so celebrating that win was definitely made the weekend a lot easier to tackle. So
yeah, for sure. Definitely. And at that time on a Saturday too. You could enjoy your Saturday night football and you got Sunday enjoying it. And I'm back wearing Tigers gear again this week. It went a little bit dusty in the back of the cupboard for a little while, to be honest.
Yeah, I
knew it was temporary, but
yeah, I didn't wear my jersey actually watching the game, so maybe that's another thing. Maybe I have to leave the jersey off for a little bit.
You're a very superstitious man, but the problem is that you either forget, so therefore making it redundant, or you're just terrible at recognising the patterns. Next week,
probably all 3.
Yeah. So next time you won't wear your jersey, they'll lose, and you say, "It's because I didn't wear a jersey."
Well, I'll definitely be wearing a jersey next weekend because I'll be live at the game. So,
mate, lift and sink. Let's jump into some players that you think are worthy. Would you like to do a lift or a sink first, my friend?
I'm actually going to let you do it first because I always steal yours. So
well, no, you keep saying that, and the last 3 or 4 times we've done this, you keep pushing it to me first, and I've figured out by now it's just a diversion tactic. So you're up.
Stop finding out these clever loopholes I try to do.
These ain't my first rodeos, huh?
So my lift is actually, we can talk about the obvious ones, but for me it's Taruva. I would say Taruva handled Crichton so well. So well. Every time that there was a break... No, it wasn't Crichton then. No, that was... Who was he on? Oh, Cherry. Sorry. He handled Cherry really well. Cherry was barely even seen, and he had a blinder against the Storm the week prior. So, for me, Taruva again, is it out of position? I don't know, because I think he actually does quite well in the centres. I don't think he doesn't obviously give us those meters out of the back end that we need sometimes.
He actually did both, to interrupt you, because when Marcy went off, Starr came onto the right as a right centre, and Taruva pushed over to the left. So again, like, his versatility shone through. He played centre on both sides in the match and did a good job. So,
for me, that's a huge lift for me. I think he was phenomenal.
He's a footballer, isn't he?
I
remember last year he did a job at fullback for us. Like, he's not going to be your gun backup, but he can certainly do a job wherever you put him.
Yep. No, 100%. And I was, really, really happy with his performance. I don't know if you're going to give him a lift, because I don't think you will. Well, I'm going to let you go first, because I'll do a special mention.
Yeah, sure. I'll see if I blow it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Before he got concussed, I thought Sione was very strong. I thought he did an excellent job from the intensity point of view. It was a notable uptick, and he's been down the last few weeks. Yeah. I could see that he made a real conscious effort to make his presence known. Every hit was felt, and he was manhandling people out there. He wasn't the only one. You could tell that the boys went out there to fix that, to fix the contact, to fix the wrestle, and get back control of the ruck through the middle. And I thought he was one of them that was front and centre. I thought Polay had some good little moments, but again, I'm just not seeing enough out of him quite yet. And it's sort of I know that Sione played on an edge, but it's sort of a forward come middle compliment, but Sione at the head of the pack. He just stood out a little bit for me in his shorter minutes, and I thought it was a shame when he got concussed.
No, I didn't mind what I saw from him as well. I wasn't paying too much attention, but for me, actually, honourable mention is actually Stafford. I actually thought Stafford did very well from a defensive perspective when he came on. I thought he hit with intent. From an attack perspective, neither here nor there with that.
It didn't see much ball.
No, but from a defensive perspective, all I can think of is basically Benji said, look, this is your area to improve. If you don't improve, this is it. Because there's obviously those reports of him being looked to moved on with Seyfarth. Who was the other one? There was three.
Royce Hunt.
Yeah. To re-sign Sam, and okay, I'm happy with that. But I actually was very impressed. Like, obviously, and there was that absolute try saver on the right hand side. I think we had maybe 2 minutes to go when they were peppering our line. I can't remember who he tackled. Might have been Cherry. I can't remember. But whoever it was, he actually got them solid on the ground. Like, there was an overlap. He got on his outside, I think. And he wrapped him around the waist, and he just held on for dear life. Stafford 6 weeks ago, he just would have looked at him and he probably would have let him score.
I've got a few honourable mentions.
Credit where credit's due.
Sorry, carry on.
Sorry?
No, carry on. You're right. Finish off.
I was just going to say, I've been extremely critical of Stafford, and it's been deserved. But it was nice to see him start to put something together there.
Yeah, I've got a few. That's a fair one. I think he stepped in and probably, he didn't get any good ball, but he did a job in defence, which is what we needed. And a bit of desperation there at the end too, which, credit. I agree. I think Giral played well. I think he came in and he did a good job, ran for over 200 metres and put his best foot forward. The only other one I wanted to mention quickly or briefly was Tino Tavana coming back from a rough game against the Sharks several weeks back. I thought he came in, had a couple of big moments, took a couple of big catches, and his try was pretty important. So worth mentioning, keen to have him in and around the system. Mate, we're going to get to a couple of things really quick. So
we haven't done Sinks yet.
Hey?
We haven't done Sinks yet.
That's what I said. We've got to get the Sinks really quick, so let's jump in. I was going to give you first access to the smorgasbord because there's a couple there. Have at it.
There is a couple, and I think I'm going with the obvious one because he just pissed me off, and that was Alex Seyfarth. His pathetic defence directly led to 2 tries. So
what about the said restart on the 5th tackle?
Yeah, I thought that was Seyfarth of old. I think, to be honest, I think he needs to go down to New South Wales Cup and get some game time. I think he's just stuck on the bench for too long. Because I thought he was coming good for a little bit. Like, when I say coming good, for Seyfarth, there's coming good. He's a workhorse and he does what he needs to. But he was very bad in a lot of ways. And so he is undoubtedly the king of the sink at the moment.
It wasn't good. We mentioned earlier the fact that he came in and made his silly tackle and he hurt Twal in the process, which was, again, just a cherry on the cake. Yeah, he was very poor, and it's reflected in the team list this week with Maverick Guy named to start in his place. So Benji isn't afraid to make people accountable for making poor decisions or poor performances.
I agree, and that's what I like. Imagine if it was Madge back in the day. I will stick with him.
I just wanted to mention, listeners, as well, if this show is a little bit choppy, we've had a fair few issues tonight. Hopefully I'm not making too much of a rod for Toby's back, and we should be able to piece it back together. So hopefully it's seamlessly, and you have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm going to talk about my sink very quickly, and it's a bit of an off-field one, and it is simply some of Benji's use of Latu. And watching Latu playing out a hooker on the weekend, I started to really think about it being time to start using him properly for what his skill set is. I think it's probably getting to that point now. He turned 21 last week, Latu, and I think we can't. I know we're in that weird spot where we don't have a backup hooker for Appy, essentially. But I think there's ways when Appy is up for it and playing 80 again at points or whatnot, or even using someone like a Charlie Murray in place to be able to then use Latu correctly, which is my opinion, in the middle. Whether he's distributing in half or he's playing a lock roll, or even at times if you have him float out second man, 5'8", we've got to get him running the football. We've got to get him being more creative, because we're really, at the moment, we're putting, I don't know what an analogy would be, but we're shackling him tremendously, asking him to do a job, and he's doing a job because he's tremendously versatile footballer, but he's an attacking beast, and we're just not using him. No. And I don't think we can use him from hooker, or if we do use him from hooker, I want to see him be encouraged to take a few more risks and maybe run the football a bit more often. At the moment, he's just shoveling and tackling, and I think we can get a lot more out of Latu. So it's sort of the use of Latu, I guess, would be my sink this week.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, he came on when Tolley went off at lock. And, we didn't really get a lot of attacking because we were defending that whole time, but I thought he defended really well in the middle. So,
yeah, for sure. And he has to defend in the middle when he's being happy anyway, when he's coming on and relieving minutes anyway. So most of his defending is in the middle as it is. And he's doing a good job in there, and especially in limited minutes where he can be a little bit of an energizer bunny, but just with the ball. We've got a Ferrari and we're keeping it parked in the garage. And I understand all the context around, but he's been back for a bit now. He's been getting a few bit of game time under his belt. It's time to just give him more than simply catch and pass out of lock small minutes or shovel from dummy half. He's got to start running the footy, and Benji's got to start encouraging him heavily to do that, I think.
Yeah.
Mate, that's lift and sink. That's a run through of the game. Is there anything you want to mention about that Doggies game before we move on with the show?
Just a special mention to Buller, actually. I thought Buller returned well, and I thought he showed desperation I haven't seen in a while. Like, when I think of Buller desperation, I obviously think back to that Panthers game in his debut year when he went after Nathan Cleary. He stopped quite a few rampages. He still overcommits at times, and that's a little bit frustrating. With that Jacob Carraz try, that's obviously not really his fault. That's more Seyfarth's fault. But he still overcommitted, and he allowed that step to come on the outside. But I thought he was a big difference maker, and we knew that was going to happen with him and Appy coming back into the side. And then we speak about Appy come back in the side, and apparently reports are he's going to join the Blues side, so we'll miss him for another week. Yay!
That'll be for the Gold Coast game,
which I'll be there for. If we lose that game, we're going to be ropeable.
But at the very least, it'll be against the Gold Coast, who aren't going. They're dangerous on their day, but it's at Leichhardt, and they're not going terrific. So hopefully we can still manage to put on a decent performance in lieu of that. We'll wait and see how the sides are named. Yeah, it behooves us to mention Appy and the difference he made. He made a difference straight away, and he's a big reason why the middle looked way better.
Yep.
Just he and he alone. And we know that, and we know what we've been missing with him. Take a gun hooker out of any decent side in which their hooker is an intricate or plays an intricate role in what they do, and they struggle. Look at the Bulldogs since they got rid of Reid Marnie. Look at the Storm when Harry Grant's out. Look at the Dolphins at times when Marshall King has struggled.
Yeah.
Or been out injured. It makes a massive difference. And look at Marshall King when he came back on the weekend and played for the Dolphins. Like he was so good.
Speaking of that, there has been whispers of somebody coming down to play with family members in Sydney from Queensland. So maybe Marshall King is the stopgap between Appy retiring and Hayward being ready. Who knows? But there's definitely not hope.
Interesting segue, which is Jake Averillo hasn't been announced by any measure, but there's a lot of reports getting around that he has been, or will be, he's close to signing with us. I don't know the details on how long, but I'm assuming it's for several years. He's only 25, Jake Averillo, and he's really made a decent fist of a number of positions up there at the Dolphins since moving on from the Doggies originally. He had his defensive issues at times, but I think he's smoothed that out relatively well. So, and is a genuine fullback option and plays right centre. And following the downfall of Stafford Torre in a number of ways, and I know he's still on the scene, but he's obviously on the outer. It looks like, mate, we've locked in a bit of a centre pairing moving forward for the time being with Tiny once he's back, and it seems as though Jake Averillo. What do you think he brings to the side?
A right centre.
It's a good start. How long have we been saying it?
Yeah. I think he just brings more stability and a better defensive mindset than we've had. And what it also does is, if that is the case, it allows Massey to develop a little bit more, build into his body a little bit more. I think that's one of the things that I've noticed about him a little bit is I feel like he is... I feel like he's playing beyond his years, but body-wise as well. I feel like his body's still a bit immature. And once he starts filling out, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's frightening. It's frightening for the opposition because he's a boy. Yeah. He's a boy in a man's body. So he'll thicken up and toughen up and harden up and bones will be a bit more dense. Hey?
He said he's a boy in a man's body. I said he's a boy in a boy's body. What are you kidding?
It's a boy's body, but it's a man-sized boy. Anyway, we're getting off in the weeds. Well, you saw him run flat stick into Satili Tupanua, who can put just about anybody on their backside, and he sent Satili flying backwards half concussed. So it's not for the first time that we've seen it. I think that essentially then looks as though a backline, if it does come to fruition, is first choice would dare I say, be Buller with Makasini on the left, pairing with Taylor. And then on the right, you'd have Averillo and Taruva. That brings strike on both sides on all levels. Fullback is strike, your wingers are strike, your centres are strike, and then you even go into our second rowers that are locked in their positions, Sam Weller and KPP. Once everybody miraculously, for a single game, please, is back on the field, it becomes a side that is fleshed out across the board, which is really good to see. And I don't think I can ever say that we have had a side where almost every position is just about settled. And if we sign Jake Averillo, and there's a couple of little changes around that, like we'll discuss benches and things as we head into 2027 in the future, but the side would be starting to look pretty damn settled in a number of ways.
Yeah. I think for me, the one thing we're actively missing is a proper utility. And I say that with the utmost respect to Latu, but I think, like you said before, Latu has been wasted in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly, like, the way that all of those Pacific Islander boys talk about Benji, like you listen to Terrell on Josh Mansell's podcast, and he said, while Benji's there, I'm loyal. Once Benji's gone, who knows? And again, that's probably why we locked him until 2030 to keep the boys around but also Benji's developing quite well as a coach.
The point that Terrell made is a good point. which is he opened with that, but then he went on to explain that he's seen enough over the years and he's seen the way the business has worked that he won't be loyal to clubs again because he understands that it is a business. But he said, what I will be loyal to is to people. And so I'm loyal to Benji because of the way he's looked after me and my family. And I listened to that and I thought, that's not a bloke just tying himself to the coach. That's a smart guy who understands the business, who recognises that you can't be loyal to organisations. You're loyal to people. And that's the point. And sometimes people worry about things like this when there's too much attachment. I say it brings stability and it brings a foundation and it brings a camaraderie. And if they all want to be there as a crew and they all want to be there for the coach, what's the one thing you won't be able to ever question? Have they lost the dressing room? They're all there for that bloke. So it's tremendous.
I mean, we always use it. The best game manager in the game is Wayne Bennett. And I don't think anyone has ever questioned if he's lost the dressing room. Ever.
Yeah. True.
Not even when he was at the Knights and, the Knights started going south. No one really ever questioned, has he lost the dressing room? Because, perfect example is how he's really handled this Jai Arrow stuff and helped the kid along and all this jazz. Benji's, Bennett's his mentor. So, yeah.
We're really starting to see sort of the first crop on the orchard of Benji Marshall's coaching career. Like, he hasn't achieved anything yet. We haven't gotten to finals anywhere yet. But if you have a look across the board at where we started, where all the criticisms were coming like tsunamis, and you look at what's actually been in place now and the fact that there is a core group of gun players that want to stay there, that are signed long-term. They are re-signing who they want. They're able to move on who they want. Players are coming to play for Benji, openly playing for him. Players are professing how much they really enjoy his coaching. So it's a situation, and the wins are coming, and then the side is looking better and improving all the time. So from a tangent talking about Benji suddenly, there's a number of areas, a number of variables. Goodness me, it's been a long 2-day week. in which he's looking good. Anyway, we'll move on from that.
I think just before we do, I think that it would behoove us to not mention the fact that, to be honest, I think the fact that Sean Mellencamp has kind of silenced a lot of the outside noise and let footy just play footy. Like, we went on a bit of a spell there. 3 years ago, we go on a bit of a losing spell. What's the thing that we read in the media time and time again? Some bullshit about Holman Barnes Group. I have not heard a fucking touch all the wood. Sorry, I know that was really loud, but touching all the wood. I haven't heard shit about Holman Barnes this year. Nothing. And I reckon that's just because I think he has become the perfect mediator between the actual board, Holman Barnes, and knows what needs to be said and what doesn't. We love Richo, and Richo's instilled a lot of the stuff that's going on. But I think Richo is also probably, he knows how businesses should be run and doesn't really ask twice before he does it. So, yeah, that's just me. I'm just saying, big shout out to Mellencamp. I think he's actually done a pretty decent job at head office.
Yeah, for sure.
Except for the fucking Raw store. Mate, you need to fix that shit. Raw store's shit.
Okay. Bad user experience, Toby?
Me and my brother.
Yeah, fair enough. I do remember those stories. Stocking's always an issue. Yeah, credit to Sean. I think he's, in terms of how you want his first 6 months to look and what we're after, we've re-signed the May brothers, we've re-signed Hamasi Makassini, we've re-signed Jareem Buller, and we've re-signed Tito. We look like signing and filling Jake Averillo. He's been part of the stuff prior when he was working under Richo and everything that led to filling other gaps around KPP and players like that as well. So it's all very pleasing, mate, and well done to him so far. Proof will be in the pudding long term, but everything's coming up Millhouse at the moment.
Oh, Millhouse. What do we do?
On that note, mate, it might be time. You're going to do an expedited a speed run this week. Is it time?
I'll do a speed run.
All right, and here we go for Toby's Weekly Pathways Roundup.
That's a speed run.
Cannot speed up the intro, though.
Yeah, let's speed that one up. So as always, we're going to start with the men. I finally did it, and I actually got a subscription to Bar Sports TV. Thank you. So I actually watched these games. I will say categorically, please don't pick Tristan Hope. He was even average at New South Wales Cup, so I think he's very much down on confidence. So please don't pick him because that is going to be atrocious. But yeah, we ended up winning. So I think before this we were 6 points out of the 5. So that moves us a little bit closer to potentially, which is mind-boggling for me because we started off not great. Potentially making the top 5. But we had a 4-try scoring sensation from Skuru. Moved back on the wing. I think he was playing in the centres for a little bit, but he moved back on the wing and just had this amazing try where he went down the line and he was like watching Macassini against Dylan Edwards. Just boom. Bounced him off, ran and scored. A double to Lukey. I think Lukey shows he's head and shoulders above New South Wales Cup.
I heard he had a cracker of a game down there. And I know that Sakura scored 4, but I heard that Luke was a better winger.
Sakura scored 4, ran for 230 metres, had 2 line breaks. He absolutely had a blinder, but yeah, Lauli he didn't kick stones. And that's what I love. I love that about a lot of these young players. You know, I will say it again, whether it's confidence or whether he is kicking stones, Tristan Hope just looks like a shell of who we thought he was last year. I think for me, it is never going to be a question now of if, but when Andrews gets a shot. He's outclassing everyone on the field. He does.
Yeah, he looks good.
And I'm really happy you've got this Bar Sports TV because I get to watch this now.
He is in the extended reserves list that we'll mention shortly, so.
Yeah, I
think that's a first for him.
No, I think he got named last week as well.
Did he?
I think so.
I think Hope was in that position last week. Oh, he still is there, I guess.
He's still there. Hope's still at position 20. He's still in the 20th man, but Javon's 22. I think Mason played all right as well. I think just unfortunate Mason. I think you're right. You said it last week. I think they're pushing Mason into fullback to make sure, just to get some games under his belt in that position in case he's needed. But in saying that, we'll move on to the Fleggies, the boys. Jack Artard is too good for Jersey Flegg. He was carving them up. He ended up. Well, the unfortunate thing is when you go to the site, Jersey Flegg doesn't have player stats, just team stats. But he ended up scoring a try, kicking 3 from 5. But he was in everything. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he had 2 or 3 try assists from out the back. Defense was good. And he was the last line of defense. We obviously read about this young kid, and again, this isn't me trying to be the junior guru. You go to the boys over at
Faithful
with Joey and that, and they'll be able to run you through everything. But Glassy was classy. He was really good. So
SG ball age too, still Glassy, I think.
Yeah, so apparently we've locked him up for another 3 years in a development deal, so that's good.
Another centre, yep.
I think he's got something there. But Hayward, I think there's a reason why he's captaining that side. I think he's been very good since he started, since he came up. But again, like I said, I think he's still a couple of years away. I don't want to rush him like we did with Talon. We rushed Talon out of necessity. And
Talon.
Whatever.
No, sorry, you said Talon, and I just went straight to Talon Mayo, just clarifying. Talon De Silva, you're talking about TDS?
Talon De Silva, yep.
No, you know that, you fool. I just wanted to make a note. Yeah, you ended up sort of going into it anyway, but I just wanted to mention that I think in terms of, that cliche of development, I think we are nailing Jared Haywood's development.
Yeah.
I think he's playing just as much in a level where he's just above. He's been given the captaincy and some responsibility and asked to go and get some reps in. He'll play some cup again this year, no doubt. And I think next year is when we'll see at some point a debut. And he'll get plenty more cup time, I would imagine, next year. As he really works into filling out a bit over the off-season and then playing against men. I think they're getting it absolutely correct. And I actually think that he's not the only one. I think the way that we are dealing with Marcy aside and a couple of the other guys that have broken through early aside, I think there's a lot of players that we're being patient with. And it's really, really pleasing. Yeah, and it's pleasing to see. And if you look at the ladder there, we're sitting in second place. We've played one less game than the Dragons. We've had only one loss all year, same as them, on 23 points. And I think once we start getting a successful Jersey Flegg side, particularly when we're deliberately holding back a bit of our talent at that level, once that starts spilling into Cup, you start seeing some real growth happen at Cup level. And I think we, from many ways, will see a big improvement in our Cup side next year because some of these guys will push up and on in and they'll be hungry and they'll be ready.
Yep.
And I think we'll only see the strength of our Cup side, which is mid-table, like you mentioned, and growing all the time. I think we will continue to improve that squad. And then, again, it just starts positively working up the chain. So that's the way that junior development should work. And it's been a while since we've seen a West Tigers side going that well and looking so well-rounded, particularly how they've filled up with a lot of local juniors.
Well, I think for me too, if we have a look at some of the ones that just have not eventuated, the perfect example for me is probably Kit at the moment. I don't even know where Kit is at the moment, if he's injured or what. I have no idea.
He was concussed for a while at the start of the year, and I don't know if he's come back. I don't know what the go is.
Because I haven't seen him play any of that. I'm actually just double checking now to see if he played for Ryde Eastwood. Because if he did, that's just such. No, he's not there. But it's just he was, rushed in, and that happens. We were desperate at times. But like you said, with what we're doing with this batch at the moment, another perfect example is Phoenix Gonde. Phoenix is playing because he's still SG Ball. What's the word I'm looking for? He's still
eligible.
Eligible. Thank you.
I think it was his second year this year. I think he's out next year. I think he turns 20 next year. I might be wrong there, but I think that's the case. They're doing the same Christian Tapau Moores as well.
Yeah,
he's holding him back. He's a monster, and as a result, they are maturing naturally, and they're playing at age level as long as they can, and acquiring reps. And like your point about Marcy early,
the Tapau boys are doing. They're building.
Yeah.
I think Mitch is
debuting. Both got try on the weekend, I think, didn't they? Both of them?
Yeah. I think Mitch is debuting for Mitch is debuting at New South Wales Cup this week.
Is that a debut, is it?
I believe so. I don't think he's played any New South Wales Cup this year. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joey, from Faithful.
And it is starting to get to the point where it is a little bit tricky to keep track of who's debuting where because we do have a wide raft and a big list of names, which is really encouraging and pleasing to see as well. That's really, really good.
But yeah, that's a clean sweep this week. All three grades.
Yeah. We did. We swept the Dogs. And like I was saying from the get-go, and we can go back and dig through podcasts, I never bought what the Dogs were selling, ever. I thought they were overachieving. I thought they got lucky when they looked good. And it is pleasing to see the House of Cards crumble. Pleasing.
Oi, every Dogs fan, listen to that again. One more time, Zach.
I'll give you a hod.
Pleasing.
Pleasing, very pleasing. Mate, let's jump into this Panthers game and then we might wrap up the show because it has been an ordeal, but I've enjoyed it as always.
Anyone behind the scenes knows what we've just gone through this tonight to get this to you. You better subscribe, and do all the good stuff.
Exactly. And for all those content creators that have had one of those nights, you know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway, mate, Sunday at 2 p.m. we play the Panthers. Big test. Panthers are flying this year again. No surprises.
They're full strength.
Yeah, they're flying, of course. Their players are coming back in rested, which is just, it's going to be a tough assignment. I think we know what we're up against. We line up as follows, a couple of minor changes. Dream Bull is fullback, Skelton and Tavana are the wings once again. Tito is on the right side in the centres. Marcy's been named at left centre. It remains to be seen if that AC causes him enough issues. The fact that he is named gives me some sort of suggestion that he's at least a chance, which is pleasing.
I think you'll just see a lot of padding on it.
Yeah, and I hate that. I've done a bad AC on my right shoulder,
right.
and I was pretty. Yeah, I was pretty.
I think I was
nervous
out for about 3
quite a
weeks,
while.
and I did it at training. It sucked.
It's because it's impact pain too can be uncomfortable. But anyway, Drone Luai, Jock Madden of the halves, Terrell May, Pole of the props. I need more out of Fanua. I need more and more out of Fanua. We've got to start seeing him consistent, but start to impose himself. I said that a few weeks back, and he can't be a worker. It looks to me like he's trying to work. There was a couple of occasions on the weekend where he used his footwork again, and he looked good suddenly. We got to get him more of that attacking threat, I think. And
by the way, before you move on, how good was Royce off the back fence?
Outstanding.
So good. Royce
is always good when the game's going your way and you got ball. It's just if the game's not going your way and you're struggling for possession, that's when it's a liability. But mate, we'll keep going on. Appy's the hooker, obviously, and we've got him this week. Maybe not next week if he gets the call up in Laurie Daly's side. Maverick Geyer comes in on the left in the second row in place of essentially Sione. Then come Seyfarth. Kaipi's Paul on the right, who was rather quiet, we didn't mention, and Charlie Murray comes in to start at lock. Interesting.
I'm okay with that.
So am I. And we've quite a few people who were impressed by what Charlie brought in intensity in the preseason. His challenge is going to be bringing it in the season proper. If we get out of him what we saw in the preseason, it'll be pleasing because he was a bit of a bulldog and a terrier, and he sort of didn't let up, and he just worked himself to a standstill, and we need that out of him if he's going to get close to matching what Twel's put out this year.
Yeah, I will say he has probably been the most consistent out of the whole New South Wales Cup side the whole year.
I agree. He's been a strong performer down there, so good on him. I hope he goes well. Does a good workman-like performance in the middle. Latu is 14, Seyfarth 15, Hunt 16. Ethan Roberts comes back in at 17, Bunty R4 18, and Stafford is the 19 interchange reserve again. Our extended reserves, Tristan Hope, Heath Mason, and Javon Andrews. Benjamin Quinton Marshall is the coach. I like Ethan Roberts coming back in. Did he play Cup? Did he play Cup last week, or was he?
He did.
Yeah, he did.
He made he made. I think he was our most tackle maker thingy.
Right, highest tackle count. It's interesting because I really like what he did with the ball. He was a threat when he came on that left side, I think, with the ball. Yep. So I dare say we're going to see him play some game time if the game goes our way with Mav pushing into the centre, will be my guess. And so that's exciting again, and hopefully we can see that. This Penrith side, mate, fair dinkum.
Jesus Christ. Like,
Edwards, Jenkins, Alamotti, McLean, Talangi, Cleary, Leota, Lussick, Lindsay Smith. Not that impressive, those two. Papali'i, Liam Martin comes back, because of course he does. He didn't play last week, did he?
No, I don't think he did.
Hang on, I'll be able to check. I think
Garner was there.
Oh, no, apologies. He's not an in, so he must have been in the squad last week. Okay. He's only just come back. Isaiah Yeo at lock, Jack Cogger, Sorensen, Liam Henry, Isaac Tungo, Luke Garner, and Jack Cole. They're quite a side on paper, and they've been playing pretty well. Without their stars on the weekend, they got over the Warriors. Without some of their stars, I should say. Penrith aren't beatable, but as they tend to do, they aren't unbeatable, but as they tend to do, they just keep winning football games and doing it professionally.
And I think there are times when calls definitely go their way, but they're not as much as everyone thinks. I think they're just the benchmark. They're what Storm were for so long, and the Storm aren't that anymore.
Their outside backs are strong and powerful. Casey McLean's really come on.
Yeah,
Alamotti on his day is extremely good, and Jenkins has been having a stormer of a season, particularly under the high ball. Bowl prediction time. I'll go first to give you a little bit of respite. I reckon we're going to see a pretty amazing jump-a-thon, like an aerial assault, because Tino and Jenkins are on the same side, from what I can see. Are they? I'm pretty certain they are. Tino on the right and Jenkins plays on the left, so that'll work. And then you've got Giral and To'o, two meter-reading power wingers, marking up on the other side. So it's interesting how both sides line up in that regard. So it'd be keen to see an aerial assault on one side and a couple of bulls going at it on the other side.
Sorry, my immaturity got the best of me there. I'm 40 next year too. That's hilarious.
Next year.
Yeah, you're 40 this year, you old bastard.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
I think for me, my bold prediction is I'm very more. It's probably not so much bold, more confident as well. But I think what we saw from the preseason from Charlie Murray is what we're going to see this game. I think he is going to. I don't think he's going to be the perfect replacement for Twal because I think Twal's gone to another level this year. But I think he is the next best option. He's going to show us that. So,
okay,
yeah,
good.
Scoreline,
mate. It's hard. It's hard. I just don't think we can go with them. I think we're still low on confidence. I think we're still low on a couple of important troops. I think there's a few that are playing busted. And if they turn up, it could get ugly. I'm going to give us a hopeful 30-20 loss. Hopeful.
I am actually going to say we're going to win. And I'm doing that based on the pure fact that I just bought a lottery ticket and I think I'm going to win that too.
Well, the power of positive thinking, mate. You're manifesting it, aren't you?
But also, I have a feeling that I think that regardless of who they have in the side, and there is just strike power across the park, no matter who's there. I feel like they're going to underestimate us, and that's going to be their downfall. So, I have us winning, and I have us winning 22-10.
If we can get the Panthers to 10 points, mate, be a very happy man. I hope you're right. I hope in two fronts. I hope you win the lottery too.
Yeah, me too. I'll buy you something.
Yeah, good. You can share dinner tomorrow night.
Yeah, sweet.
All right. Anything else you want to mention on that one? We'll wrap the show up.
No, it's Sunday, isn't it?
Yep, Sunday 2 p.m.
Yeah,
Combank Stadium. That's it.
Nothing else on my end. Nothing else.
Well, West Tigers media is good media in our eyes. Get on over and follow the West Tigers podcast and West Tigers TV and all their subsidiaries. Ambush on Facebook, westtigersforum.com. Thanks to Best on Ground Digital. Jock from the block loves Best on Ground Digital. So will you. So will you. So do I. So will you. Score in the corner. Kick it over the black dot. bestongrounddigital.com. Mate, we had a few challenges tonight, but we got through it. You'll splice it up neat, quick in the morning. It'll be far easier than we all hoped, and the show will be out. So good on you for sticking through. Can we get a round of applause for Toby, please?
Oh, where's that thing? Hey, where is it? Oh, there. Yeah.
Oh, very good, mate. Beautiful, well done. You just gave you. Good on you, mate. Pushing through when you're sick.
Oh, thank you, darling. Thank you.
That's what really matters. Don't ever call me that again. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing more to say than go the mighty West Tigers.
Up the Tigers.